So I am so happy to be here because this book was planned a year ago through my mother. However, about 2 to 3 months ago, I went through a really traumatic experience, and I'm like perfectly fine with the experience. I'm okay with talking about it. It's no problem to me. I was recommended to go to therapy, and I did. And when I talk to my therapist, she likes to use the word disassociation with me because, I'm not feeling those ill feelings or those bad feelings from it. So I'm kind of wondering, what's the distinguishing factor or kind of like the fine line between a disassociation with your emotions and just being completely still and being okay with your emotions?
In stillness, you can feel the emotion. You can have the emotion release. But you're in stillness. So it's almost like there's this space between this emotion. You realize that you are the stillness. You are the awareness, the witnessing presence. But still the emotion can still arise. Where you hear, was it yesterday that I said about the story about the Zen monk and his dying son, where he was just weeping? So you can still have an emotional release, but there's the awareness there. There's no attachment to the emotion, but you allow it to come. Just allow it because it is there. So I believe that when you disassociate, you don't feel at all. You're not wanting to feel at all. So you go about life like as if nothing has ever happened. Did something traumatic happen?
Yes, I was shot in the face.
Yeah, that's pretty traumatic for sure. And you've accepted?
Yes.
Fully? Completely?
I fully accept.
You never had any emotion about it? You never had any anger, any sadness come up?
I had sadness with it, of course, because it's a life altering thing. I am blind in one eye for the rest of my life. And it was also due to a gunfire between two gentlemen that I didn't know at all. So I was in my car and it happened. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to say that I ever felt why me, but it was like, wait, why? Not so much of a pity or a victim role. However, like, wait, why did that happen to me? But not in a victim role. So I did feel sad about it, but I've accepted the whole thing. And sometimes I feel even happy emotion through it because, I've gained a lot from it. I've gained more than I lost from it. To me, I lost an eye, but I gained so many more things. Well,
that's a beautiful and wonderful place to be in. It could be that you had just gone straight through. And something traumatic sometimes can happen, and then you just awaken and you just go straight through. An emotion, when you truly feel and allow emotion to be there, it can literally just last 30 seconds. It's our resistance to that emotion that persists the continuation of that emotion to keep being there. So it could be, but only you will know. So if you go into yourself right now and truly into yourself and just feel, how do I really feel about this? How do I really feel? What thoughts do I have about this?
When I do that, I kind of feel a guilt that comes from it, but more so...
Guilt?
Yes, but more so because like my loved ones, I feel like they hurt through it more than I hurt through it. And, that hurts me more than anything. And that's why...
So do you feel because... Do you feel like you need to somehow protect your loved ones?
Yes,
Ah.
for sure.
So you're a caretaker?
Yes.
So you caretake other people's feelings before you can really caretake your own feelings?
For sure. I may not always,
do you think you
do
did
it in
this
the best
with
way.
this particular incident that happened to you?
I think I won't say 50-50, but there's definitely times to where I'm like, you're okay. Make sure everyone knows you're okay, you're fine. But in reality, I may not have been okay at that moment, or, you don't want the worry of, your mother, your father, your significant other, things like that.
Yeah.
So
caretakers learn to wear a lot of masks so they don't have to show their true emotions because you're worried about the other person. We hear of, when we get on a plane, when we go through that spiel where they say when the oxygen mask falls down, you put on your own mask first before you help somebody else. That's what we got to do. Truly. So you really have to learn to caretake yourself. That is a conditioned form. You learn that somewhere in childhood. Maybe you saw your parents sad or whatever, and you just thought, wow, maybe if I just became really good and quiet, then it won't upset my mother so much. I'm just making up a story here. I'm not saying that happened to you. I mean, I know that role. I've played that caretaker role. When we play it for too long, we can only push down our own emotions. It's like you've heard of that beach ball sort of thing where imagine this beach ball is your emotion and we push that beach ball down underneath the water and we can only hold it for so long before it'll just suddenly pop up. So if you still have some emotion around this, it'd be good to feel it. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, you are here and you want to be your true self. And your true self is not only that stillness, but you have the form dimension as well. And that form dimension is human, and that human has human emotions. Just let it out. Maybe it is that you haven't found the safe place to let it out. And maybe it is with the particular, your family even. You can't let it out. There isn't quite that safe place. Maybe something happened in childhood to create that you couldn't have these emotions. Maybe nobody could handle emotions in your family. I don't know. I'm just putting things out there. But if you can't even handle your own emotions to allow them to come out, we won't be able to allow other people to have their emotions either. And we're human. Emotions are going to be there. We're going to be affected. Something traumatic happens, we're going to be affected. Even the most enlightened person will be affected because they are human. They have a human side. We have a human side. So we can be that stillness. We can enter that state of stillness and still have the emotion. And that's what I invite you to be able to do. And it sounds like you're doing it a little bit. And maybe it might sound like as if you're caretaking somebody else, you're quite not allowing all your emotions to come out. And it may be you won't be able to let it out with them. That's okay. Don't let it out with them. If you have a trusted therapist you can let it out with him or her. Maybe you don't even allow yourself to even let it out with your therapist. Maybe it is that it's just with yourself you need to release it. And that's okay. Just to release it on your own.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah.